It's a really big pleasure to be here today with you to talk you a few words about Allan Kardec and recent discoveries that have been made about him, which will show, as per the title of the lecture, that he really was not only a teacher, he was not only a codifier, he also put it in practice himself all along the life, even before he was Spiritist, and then also when he was Spiritist, giving us this fantastic example, and which is why so many people around the world are still liking, reading, and admiring him. So, as you know, he was born 3rd of October 1804 in city Lyon, 216 years ago. It's already 16 years that we had 200 years commemoration in the World Spiritist Congress in Paris, 2004. And we inaugurated the year after this monument that you can see on the picture on the left, together with Nestor Mazotti and the administration of the Lyon city. And it was also a collaboration with the Spiritists from Rio de Janeiro, or Niterói, which had this agreement with the city of Lyon to erect this monument. And this one is more or less at the place where he was born, Rue Sala. This place was not his home. It was a thermal establishment with, how to say, thermal water, having properties to help the women which had difficulties to have children. So that's why he was born there. And the monument is erected more or less at the place where this establishment was. Because he lived in reality in Bourg-en-Bresse, which is a city more or less halfway between Lyon and Geneva. And on the birth certificate that you can see on the top right of the slides, his father was at his birth currently in Paris. Here, a small genealogy of him. I will not enter into details; it would be too long. Just to tell you, no biography was talking about giving details about his father, his parents in particular. And we found out in two steps. First, that his father disappeared around 1807. So it means when the young Hippolyte was 2.5 to 3 years old, his father disappeared. He was not, the version was he disappeared during the war in Spain, and he was where he would have been probably killed. So with 2.5 years, the young Hippolyte he did not have his father anymore. So it was not his father who could bring him this education and all these skills that he demonstrated to have along the work he has done the whole life. He came with this, with already carrying it in his own spirit. And on another hand, we found out later that in reality his father did not disappear in Spain. He simply found, let's say, abandoned his wife and the children and made a new life with another person. So we found out more details about this recently. And he died with 75 years in city of Périgueux, Dordogne. On another hand, Kardec, the small Hippolyte had one brother older than him and one sister also older than him, but both died very young. And also, we found out also recently that he had also another sister younger than him, who was born in 1806, but probably also died very young. And he was the only one who survived, let's say, until his majority. And so he was the only son of his mother when he married in 1832. So basically, he grew with his mother, Jeanne-Louise Duhamel, his grandmother, Charlotte Beauchard, and his uncle, which was François Duhamel. Well, that was where he grew. And so he was sent by even so to study in Pestalozzi school in Yverdon. And you see, 1823, so he was not even 19 years old, he already announced that he would publish a first book, which is a book about arithmetics, according to the methods of Pestalozzi, where he had brought some improvements. And this book was then published the same year. So he had his first published book when he was 19 years old. So he did not wait long to start his big work in the educational area. In August 1825, so you see he was 21 years old, he founded his first school, first degree school, so for young children, boys mainly at that time, because the girls did not have so easy chance to go into the schools. And so that is where he started putting into practice the education in his own school establishment. Then this establishment grew a lot. He changed several times addresses to Rue de Vaugirard, Rue de Sèvres. And at the end, it was quite a big institute with several classes. It was also the secondary teachings for teenagers, and with a lot of classes in parallel and so on. And he was even in London, as I showed last year, to advertise and to find some scholars for going learning in his school in Paris. But unfortunately, and this is where the difficulty of his life started, in 1840, he had to sell and to transfer the institute to someone else. And the reason for this is probably what is told in the biographies. His uncle was gambling in casinos and so on, and he lost a lot of money, and he lost basically the money of the family. In order to pay the debts, they had to, unfortunately, to sell this very big, well-functioning institute. And that is then between 1840 and 1855, as you can see on this slide, a more difficult phase of his life, where he had really to battle to survive or to ensure the minimum income for sustaining his family. So he had several other activities in theaters, in a bank, also in an insurance company. He also, together with his wife Amélie, opened a pensionate for girls between 1844 and 1850. And that was again working reasonably until 1850, where a new law came out, the Loi Fallou, which opened the door for religious influence on education. And this also, how to say, Kardec was known as being a teacher, teaching independently of any religious belief, and that was not positively seen by the Jesuits at that time. So he could not even continue this work in the pensionate for girls. So he had then to continue. He was himself professor, math teacher. He worked with his friend Levi Alvarez, who had a religious college. And he also performed some other small jobs in theater, patents, and accounting. And this is until 1855, he was already living Rue des Martyrs, and where he started studying the phenomenon of the turning table and spiritism. We found also the first letter he wrote to his future spouse, Amélie Boudet. And this letter is really wonderful. It has been published in this magazine, Brazilian magazine, also in the French Revue Spirit. And in this letter, we can clearly see that they were made one for the other. And when they found they met the first time, they immediately recognized, okay, it's for us. And it's really very interesting to see how spirits like the one of Kardec and the one of Amélie, when they come together, there is absolutely no doubt, and how to say, they really followed the track that was programmed even before their reincarnation. Continuing, they also educated a young lady called Louise. We don't know yet exactly who it was. It was not the daughter from them. It was a a little lady which was from very, very poor parents. So this also showing that even before Spiritism, in 1840 already, they made this choice to help, or to say, poor families and having this little lady to be educated. And unfortunately, this young little Louise died also very young in 1845 already, at the age of more or less 10 years. And we found evidences of this into some original documents or original letters that appeared recently. I will talk a little bit later about this. And then 1857, he wrote this book that you can see here, Le Livre des Esprits, which I call a revolutionary book because it really brought, how to say, a factual basis, observing the mediumnic and all this paranormal phenomenology, and going for interpretation in order to prove the existence of the soul and its survival after the death. So he introduced really a scientific method in a field which was already developed at that time in France by the philosophy, in particular the French spiritualism. So then he wrote, of course, also the other books, as you know, the medium books, Gospel according to Spiritism, Heaven and Hell, and the Genesis. And we found also in all these documents that appeared a lot of evidences that he suffered a lot of pressure from the clergy, because as long as he was only with the Spirits book, it was more or less fine. Medium book also, but when he wrote the Gospel according to Spiritism, all his books were put in the index, Liborum Prohibitorium, and they were forbidden basically to be read. And that was quite a good news for Kardec because, as he wrote in the Spiritist magazine, this gave an opportunity. A lot of people wanted to know what it is about. 1861, there was also this Barcelona Auto de Fe, was also this Barcelona bishop burned the books, which also made a lot of advertisement about Spiritism in Spain. And we have also now evidences that there was Jesuits infiltrated in the Société Parisienne des Études Spirites. And the spirit informing this to Kardec at that time was also telling they really faced tough time to find arguments against the arguments of Kardec that he wrote in Heaven and Hell. They really could not find arguments in order to counter or to destroy the Kardec's arguments. And also what we have evidences now is in particularly at the end between 65 and 69, he suffered a lot of pressure to declare Spiritism as a religion, but he resisted. And the best proof is you just read his discourse, speech he made at the ceremony of 1st November 1868 in the Société Parisienne des Études Spirites, where he's really explaining the clear reason why he did never declare Spiritism as a religion. And all the arguments he puts, it was, as you can see, more than 150 years ago, are absolutely still valid today. Continuing, he also wrote, we found hundreds of letters, and he made several travels around the front to support the growing Spiritist movement at that time. So he received a lot of call for helping, and he answered everything. He had hundreds of letters every day to go, to do, to answer, and he did it really with a full dedication along his whole life, which is also a huge example for all of us. He also helped poor people in Paris, he and Amélie. So Mr. Costo, maybe you remember in Spiritist magazine, and also Heaven and Hell. His case, a very poor guy who died. And in his letter that was written by Amélie to him, Amélie is clearly telling when he died, she went to visit the widow, to help her, giving her money and so on. So here again, we could see that they always had this open heart to make charity and to help the people in need. Other episodes, a lot. Mr. Leclerc also got a lot of help. And it showed also that in the Société Parisienne des Études Spirites, you had some instructed people like Flammarion or others, and you had also some very humble, very simple, very poor people together in the same meetings. And this was also a very, very nice example he gave to all of us. Mr. Thayer also, he was at the end homeless, and he hosted him in Villa Ségur. And to finish the story, when Lemarie took over after Amelie's death, he simply kicked him out of the back to the street. So the followers of Kardec did really not follow in the same track with the same charity as Kardec did. All these original documents I talked about you, there is a new portal now in Projeto Kardec, University of Juiz de Fora, Brazil. It is in Portuguese. I already translated everything in French. It will be very soon in French. And I really encourage you, please join a small group, translate it also into English, because this portal is a university standard, very high level, and it will contain all these several hundred and even thousands of original documents. It's a huge work for transcription, translation, correction, interpretation, and so on. So all the benevolent volunteers are welcome to participate in this huge work, which is currently being done. And even if it's in Brazil, we as a French guy, I'm very happy to see the quality of the work that is being done by our colleagues from this university. I'm finishing already. So this is an image I like a lot, profile of a good leader. When Jesus washed the feet of his own apostles, and he was telling, whoever wants to become great among you must be your servant. And this is the example that all the Spiritist leaders must follow. The more we grow into the Spiritist hierarchy, the more we have the duty to serve the people who are coming looking for help. So the group is serving the people who are coming, federations are serving the group, international federation should serve the national federation, and never having this old vertical, impositive, authoritarian approach that we were used to during centuries, because this doesn't work today anymore. And even in business and management training, you can see that more and more value is given now to humility for the managers and the leaders, because that is the best way where you can really motivate a team to reach a goal. And we as a Spiritists, we really have absolutely necessary to put this in practice if we want to give example of the learnings we are following. And also here, I would like to insist a lot, all of what I showed you is that Allan Kardec himself, albeit he had this huge authority in terms of reasoning, in terms of capacity to work and everything, he always, as I showed you in a very few slides, was having this attitude that Jesus showed us 2,000 years ago. Transition to a wonderful world. We have also the elements needed in the Genesis, in the last chapter, the time has come, and the signs of the time, where Kardec wrote that up till now, humankind has made an incontestable progress. Due to their intelligence, humans have achieved results never reached before regarding the sciences, arts, and material well-being. There is much progress yet to be made, however. They have yet to make charity, fraternity, and solidarity reign amongst them in order to assure their moral well-being. Kardec wrote this in the Genesis, which means 150 to 153 years ago now. And you can see that 150 years later, what he wrote is absolutely actual. We are still in the same situation. And if we really want now to make this world wonderful, and as it has the potential, as we all have the potential, we really have to work hardly in making this underlined part of the sentence a reality. And this depends only on each of us. We have to give the example. We have to do it on ourselves first by the moral reform, giving the example around us, and this is that when will help into the transition our world is going through. Out of charity, there is no salvation. This is a lemma of Allan Kardec and the example we have to follow. that was it as I wanted to say today, and I thank you so much for your attention.